So lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present. We apologize for bringing the news late. This is due to circumstances beyond our control. Top stories in our news tonight. Former State House aide AMOS CHANDA runs to police over his implication in the HATEMBO saga. PF CADRE links LUSAKA Province Minister BOWMAN LUSAMBO in the harassment of a civil servant. CISCA troubled with the use of huge sums of money by PF and government officials to woo voters. And in international news, Chad's transitional government refuses to negotiate with rebels. And in sports news, NKANA jet into Morocco.
2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses with only a few months remaining down to the ballot. The battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor, or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict.
For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979 753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Another news in detail. Former State House press aide AMOS CHANDA has lodged a complaint against some unknown people with the Zambia police in relation to a WhatsApp conversation in which he is being implicated of being one of the masterminders in the missing of the HATEMBO siblings. Mr. CHANDA made a complaint at Woodlands Police Station Monday afternoon, although he could not disclose which people he has reported to the police in particular, but claims he has given all the information and links to them for purposes of investigations. Mr. CHANDA has stated that he has filed a criminal defamation against him and crime against the state. According to a trending WhatsApp conversation purportedly between Ms. Nawakwi and some unknown individual, Ms. Nawakwi is being reminded how she was warned against involving AMOS CHANDA in the HATEMBO saga but went ahead with her plans. In the same conversation, Ms. Nawakwi is said to be annoyed that State House has not been helpful in tracing the HATEMBO siblings despite being assured. We have more in this report.
It seems the wrangles involving the HATEMBO will be here for quite some time as more and more allegations keep on emerging relating to the case. The HATEMBOs are at the center of the land issue involving United Party for National Development leader Hakainde Hichilema, which they lost, and they were allegedly being forced to appeal the matter by FDD leader Edith Nawakwi. But in a dramatic turn of events, Monday afternoon, former State House press aide AMOS CHANDA lodged a complaint against some people whose names have been withheld in relation to a WhatsApp conversation where he was implicated of being one of the masterminds in the missing of the HATEMBO siblings. Mr. CHANDA filed his complaint at the Woodlands Police Station around 14 hours, although he did not disclose the names of the suspect for the purpose of investigations.
A police complaint against a very damaging publication doing the rounds in many digital media platforms, purporting that I was directing Honorable Nawakwi in a criminal matter whereby she's being accused of abducting and wanting to terminate. According to that, because there are known numbers on that platform, I've provided those numbers and I've provided the people I think are suspects in that, because I was overwhelmed and my family was overwhelmed with a lot of calls from friends and family, church, diplomatic community, friends in low and high places over the same thing for 48 hours. So because there is a law that I think can deal with it, I've decided to file a criminal complaint for states, for crimes against the state, and also for criminal defamation against myself. There have been some people behind it, but the integrity of the investigation will be undermined. They have also stopped me from releasing the letter because I've not just complained verbally, I've written a letter and filed it. But that letter cannot be released now because it contains the suspects that I have named in there.
According to a trending WhatsApp conversation purportedly between FDD leader Edith Nawakwi and some unknown individual, Ms. Nawakwi is being reminded how she was warned against involving AMOS CHANDA but went ahead with her plans. The said WhatsApp conversation states that State House put together should have listened to my advice and terminated the two before the High Court gave its ruling. I have been in government long enough to be taking instruction from AMOS CHANDA and Kaiser. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Lusaka Magistrates Court has fined a 25-year-old Patriotic Front cadre who at the same time is a medical records clerk under the Ministry of Health in Kabwe, 12,000 kwacha in default, 9 months imprisonment. Mr. Kakula, in the company of other PF cadres, on the 14th of March 2021, dragged a female civil servant from her office to the office of the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Lennox Kalonde, on account that she was a UPND cadre and threatened to burn her alive if she went back to her office. But according to statements of facts before court from the Zambia Police Service, Mr. Kakula confessed that he tracked the woman after being given her contacts by Lusaka Province Minister BOWMAN LUSAMBO. Mr. Kakula explains that Mr. LUSAMBO gave him the contacts to first find out her location.
Saved by the bail, he is now required to pay a fine of 12,000 kwacha, in default 9 months imprisonment, for assaulting a civil servant from the Ministry of Works and Supply. Charles Kakula, a suspected Patriotic Front cadre, appeared before Magistrate Vitus Amaundu Monday morning for his sentencing following his admission of guilty last week Friday of harassing a Lusaka Province Controller of Transport, Shelley Chatungwa, and threatening to burn her. Kakula last week Friday pleaded guilty to threatening violence, common assault, and criminal trespass. However, his sentence could not be passed last week as the statement of facts were not before court. And this morning, before imposing the fine on Charles Kakula, Magistrate Amaundu rebuked the 25-year-old youth for dragging Ms. Chantungwa out of her office on allegations that the civil servant was frustrating government effort. Magistrate Amaundu stated that Kakula's behavior was uncalled for, in that if he had any complaints against Ms. Chatungwa, he should have reported her to her supervisors. In mitigation, the convict begged the court for lenience, stating that he was a Christian and would never commit such an offense. According to document before court, on the 13th of April, at about 10:45 hours, the complainant, Mr. Tungwa, an employee at the Ministry of Works and Supply, while at work, received a strange call asking her whereabouts, and in reply she informed the caller that she was in her office. And when she requested to know who the caller was, Kakula refused to identify himself, but informed her that he got a contact from Lusaka Province Minister BOWMAN LUSAMBO. After a few minutes, Kakula, with others unknown, went in Ms. Chantungwa's office and ordered her to accompany them to the PS office, and without being cleared to enter the PS office, with others banged and forced their way. While in the PS office, Kakula grabbed Ms. Chantungwa and dragged her around the PS office, whilst pointing a finger at her and threatening to beat her up. In the presence of the PS, Kakula further went on to harass her and accused her of being a UPND cadre and frustrating government's effort. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
And still in court news, 3 United Party for National Development UPND members have pleaded not guilty before the Lusaka Magistrates Court for assaulting a Patriotic Front member, James Mapulanga. The 3 accused in this matter, namely Simata Mainda, a businessman, Nathan Walia, a student, and Remy Halai, a technician, stand charged with 1 count of assault contrary to the laws of Zambia. Allegations are that the trio on the 14th of April 2021, whilst acting together, assaulted James Mapulanga, thereby occasioning him actual bodily harm. And when the accused appeared before court Monday morning after spending 2 weeks in custody, they denied the charges and were granted a cash bail of 20,000 kwacha in their own recognizance with 2 working sureties in the like sum. The matter comes up on the 31st of May 2021 for trial. The Young Women Network says it is worrisome to note that Zambia has continued to be ranked among the countries with the highest rate of child marriages in Africa. Young Women Network National Chairperson Margaret Mukulu says poverty should not be used as an excuse for marrying off a child, as poverty will continue to exist despite it being used as an excuse. Ms. Mukulu says much can be harnessed from a girl child if given a chance to attain proper education. And non-governmental organization coordinating council NGOCC board vice chairperson Letitia Bupe says there is need to mentor young girls on how they can become good leaders and be part of the leadership structure of the country. We have details in the following report.
Early child marriage has for many years robbed many girls from achieving their dreams and aspirations. Zambia has one of the highest child marriage rates in the world, with 42% of women aged 20 to 24 years married by the age of 18. According to the CSO's report of 2014, poverty, gender inequality, cultural customs and traditions, lack of education and economic opportunities, and lack of access to sexual reproductive health information and services have been identified as contributing factors to the prevalence of child marriage and teenage pregnancies. However, Young Women's Network National Chairperson Margaret Mukulu has argued that despite all these excuses being used as a reason for early child marriage, none of it is solved by marrying off a girl child early. This is the reason why the Young Women Network Association at a meeting held in Lusaka Monday morning is calling to an end in child marriage in the country.
It stands right now, Zambia is one of the highest countries, is one of the countries with the highest rates of child marriages, with the percentage of 42, which is quite high and quite worrying, especially for the younger generation that is yet to come. So as a network, we tend to fight in ending early child marriages, because we know that there is always a lot to see from a girl child aside from the bride side, but she can become a lawyer, a doctor and everything. So the aim of this network as well is to change the perception that people have on a girl child. They need to start seeing the other side of a girl child.
The way forward for us is for status advocacy. So we're taking advantage of platforms such as social media platforms. We have a national page which is called the National Young Women's Network, but that one is only for Zambia. We're still yet to look into the whole regional aspect. We're supposed to have certain projects that will be and are running. We have radio programs that are actually going on, so we want to zero in because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we're not really able to fully sensitized on the ground.
There are many risks associated to marrying off a girl child at a tender age, among them increased child vulnerability. Child brides are at risk of negative sexual and reproductive health outcomes, including early pregnancies, exposure to HIV and other STIs, and increased discrimination.
So we realize as leaders that we have to mentor the young people for them to become the leaders that we want to see, and also for us to change the narrative. Because as you know, the numbers of women in leadership now is at its epic low. Yeah, I think at constitutional level we just have 8%. In parliament is about 12 to 14%, which is just unacceptable. So through this Young Women's Network, we hope to mentor these young minds. We hope to give them the support that they need, the resources that they need, to link them up to other networks so that it allows them to then start making those changes within their communities and in the country as a whole.
Many of them have become knowledgeable. They are beginning to see the long-term benefits of educating a girl, but others are still adamant that, you know, it's culture. When a girl comes of age, they need to get married. So we bring in this argument of the law. What does the law say? And some of them have actually been persecuted, and they have served as an example to others.
Under statutory marriages, however, child marriages are illegal and considered a form of child abuse. The legal age for marriage under statutory law is 18 years for female and 21 years for male. It is sad to, however, note that many girls have been thrown into a prison of marriage by the people they once looked to protect them, without anyone having to help them or hear them. Laws need to intensify to ensure that girl childs are protected from early marriages. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Health Minister Dr. Jonas Chanda has underscored the need for improved interventions in the fight against malaria in Zambia. Dr. Chanda says despite Zambia making tremendous gains to reduce both morbidity and mortality due to malaria, the country had last year recorded an increase in malaria cases from 5.3 million in 2019 to 7.6 million cases in 2020, representing a 29.5% increment. The health minister says government will continue to implement evidence-based interventions to reduce the malaria disease burden. Dr. Chanda said this when he officiated at a virtual commemoration of World Malaria Day being commemorated under the global theme, Zero Malaria, Draw the Line Against Malaria. However, Zambia is commemorating the event under the localized theme, Draw the Line for a Malaria-Free Zambia, with the accompanying local slogan, Malaria Ends With Me. Also speaking during the commemoration, the World Health Organization country representative Dr. Nathan Baketa says malaria is responsible for an average annual reduction of 1% of Africa's economic growth.
As we commemorate this year's World Malaria Day, let us reflect on the country malaria situation. We must prioritize promotion of community-based and community-led malaria programs and integrate malaria activities in other non-malaria programs, given that our resource envelope is constrained. The country has continued to train community health workers across the country. This is aimed at increasing access to healthcare at community and health facility level in the provision of both diagnostic and curative services for malaria. It is also promising and gratifying to hear news of a malaria vaccine still under trial, and we've heard the news in Burkina Faso, Kenya, Malawi, Ghana, and other countries that are participating in this malaria vaccine reportedly to be 77% efficacious. And we hope that given an opportunity, Zambia could also participate in the malaria vaccine trials. Remember, malaria ends with me, malaria ends with you. Together, we can end malaria.
The Foundation for Democratic Process, FODEP, is advocating that post the August 12 general elections, the Electoral Commission of Zambia should be aligned to Parliament in order to guarantee accountability and autonomy. FODEP Executive Director George Chimembe says the move would help ensure that ECZ becomes more accountable to the people. Mr. Chimembe says avoiding the interference from the executive arm of government would help the electoral body to restore public confidence when it comes to holding free and fair elections. He made the remarks when he featured on a governance program on Camnet TV dubbed The Verdict.
Also, the government should not be putting their hand in an autonomous body like the ECZ, you know. And in future, we want to start advocating for ECZ to fall under Parliament, so that they are completely delinked from the executive, because there is interference from the executive, you know. In other places, that's the arrangement. You know, all these institutions of governance, most of them, including the auditor general, should be linked to Parliament, you know. And in future, where government is, maybe we are digressing, but where the president appoints, like in the USA, Biden would appoint a judge, but he has no constitutional power to remove that judge. So there is no allegiance to the president, because it's Congress which takes over the impeachment process. Have you seen? This is the arrangement. This is the modern way of doing things that we should do, you know, embrace in Zambia. Then truly this will be a democratic state.
You're watching Camnet News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more stories.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Happy Generation Professional College is currently enrolling for the July intake 2021 in the following programs: Diploma in Nursing, Diploma in Secondary Teaching Education, Diploma in Information Communication Technology, Diploma in Business. For more details, you can call 0972 04 2020, 0972 917061 or 0977 809772. Application form is 150 kwacha.
Every day for me means hard work, going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret: MORROCO Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, MORROCO, for my perfect skin.
When you get Showmax, you get instant access to full seasons of award-winning series and blockbuster movies.
It's amazing.
You get shows you won't find anywhere else, like Showmax Originals.
Thank you so much.
You get awesome kids shows.
Freaking awesome.
Amazing documentaries.
You literally cannot make this up.
And now, you also get live world-class sport from Supersport.
Everything's out of control.
All ready and waiting for you to watch online on your smartphone, tablet, desktop, or smart TV, wherever and whenever you like.
Whoa.
So what are you waiting for? Go to showmax.com to sign up. From football seasons to binge-worthy seasons, you'll get it all on Showmax. One platform, endless entertainment.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Civil Society Constitutional Agenda CISCA says Zambia's democracy and the citizens' rights to vote are not for sale as the PF continues to be on a trajectory of dishing money to would-be voters in public. CISCA chairperson Judith Mulenga has called on the police, the Bank of Zambia, the Drug Enforcement Commission, the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Financial Intelligence Center to investigate this clandestine dishing out of money. Ms. Mulenga regrets that amidst the country's unsustainable debt, the rising cost of living, runaway exchange rate and economic downturn, the nation has seen a number of PF cadres, including public officials, dishing out money in public. She made the remarks during a media briefing in Lusaka Tuesday.
The Civil Society Constitutional Agenda CISCA is saddened over what it referred to as general lawlessness in the nation, deprivation of liberty through arbitrary detentions, dishing of money to citizens by the ruling party members, and unrestrained tribalism, among other pertinent issues. CISCA has also observed that never in the history of the country has there been so much lawlessness and impunity perpetrated by suspected ruling party cadres as being witnessed today. They cited the recent incident which occurred on the 13th of April 2021 when PF cadres stormed the Ministry of Works and Supply offices to harass a woman they accused of belonging to the opposition United Party for National Development, UPND. CISCA chairperson Judith Mulenga has told a media briefing that in a democratic state like Zambia, such behavior must not be tolerated. Ms. Mulenga is concerned that PF cadres and officials have continued handing out money to the electorates as if democracy and the country are for sale. Despite PF National Mobilization Chairperson Richard Musukwa banning PF members and aspiring candidates from disbursing cash as a means of mobilizing electorates, such incidents have continued to be recorded, and Vice President Mrs. Inonge Wina was in the limelight for publicly giving out money to citizens in Solwezi district.
The nation has seen a number of PF members, including public officials, including the Vice President, of this country, with a video that is trending now, dishing out money like it is monopoly game money. And they're doing this to entice voters on the pretext of empowerment. Our democracy is not for sale. Our right to vote is not for sale. All our rights are inalienable, and no amount of money can take them away from us. We go on the police, the Bank of Zambia, the Drug Enforcement Commission, the Anti-Corruption Commission, and the and the Financial Intelligence Center to investigate these clandestine and now public dishing out of money. Who or what is the source of all this money? When did handouts become empowering? Handouts of cash to adults who are supposed to be earning a living is disempowering, dehumanizing, and negates sustainable development.
The civil society organizations are, among other things, demanding that the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, registers the 2 million people it left out of its first registration exercise.
All eligible voters. The ECZ set a goal to register 9 million voters, but has only managed 7 million, contrary to universal suffrage. We demand that ECZ register the 2 million it left out of its own goal of registering 9 million if it's going to engender a free and fair elections. And free and fair elections have distinct features which we don't want to go into at this stage, but which the ECZ is aware. Therefore, it does not stand that the ECZ goes on TV and claims and states that they are going to ensure a free and fair elections. They must do actions that convince us, the public, that yes, they are really delivering free and fair elections.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Action Aid Zambia has hailed the enactment of the new public procurement law as it will help in achieving efficiency and accountability. On the 16th of April 2021, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Waliangando, issued a commencement order through statutory instrument number 26 of 2021 to bring into effect and enforce the Public Procurement Act number 8 of 2020, which has repealed and replaced the Public Procurement Act number 12 of 2008. Action Aid Zambia Country Director Naluchanganga Ziva says the review and amendment of the Public Procurement Act number 12 of 2008 is a progressive step in mitigating and or limiting tendencies of grant corruption the country has witnessed in the recent time in public procurement, which does not only compromise the quality of public services but also inflates the cost of providing public services. Ms. Ziva is happy with the inclusion of Section 12 in the new Act, which provides for benchmarking of prices for common use supplies in subsection 2 and the undertaking of a price reasonableness analysis for items not covered in the quarterly market price index in subsection Cap 4. She says this is commendable and the right direction in the assurance of value for money in public procurement.
Action Aid Zambia welcomes the new public procurement law. On Friday, 16th April 2021, the Minister of Finance issued a communication order through statutory instrument number 26 of 2021 to bring into effect and enforce the Public Procurement Act number 8 of 2020, which has repealed and replaced the Public Procurement Act number 12 of 2008. ActionAid Zambia welcomes the enactment of the new public procurement law. The review and amendment of the Public Procurement Act number 12 of 2008 is a progressive step in mitigating or limiting tendencies of grant corruption in the country, has witnessed in the recent time in public procurement, which does not only compromise the quality of public services, but also inflates the cost of providing public services.
The Patents and Companies Registration Agency, PACRA Registrar and Chief Executive Officer Anthony Wembia says Zambia risks becoming a literature drought if copyright licenses continue to be avoided. Mr. Wembia has articulated that writers of textbooks are creators who would love to derive a benefit from the creation of their mind. He says research takes a lot of time and resources to fully develop, hence researchers should be encouraged by ensuring that they derive benefits from their work. And Mr. Wembia says intellectual property is not being exploited by businesses in Zambia, causing the country to be poorly ranked on the Global Innovative Index. Meanwhile, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry Christopher Yaluma says the revised intellectual property he has launched has been formulated to facilitate the creation of an environment which stimulates and fosters the generation, protection, enforcement, management and exploitation of intellectual property in all sectors in Zambia.
The writers of textbooks are creators who would want to derive a benefit from the creation of their minds, and will discourage, for as long as the trend continues where licensing for copyright is not obtained, the writers will be discouraged from writing. And eventually we are going to have a literature drought. Because I wouldn't want to spend my time researching and writing a complicated law book, which will end up only being sold by probably, I only sell 5 copies, and the rest of the copies are just photocopies. Really, research takes a lot of time, research takes a lot of money, and it takes a lot of resources. So researchers, innovators should be encouraged by ensuring that they derive benefit from creations of their mind.
The fact, ladies and gentlemen, that every business starts with an idea, and I think this should be picked up. I heard it from Mr. Segere. It is indeed true. You must come up with an idea. When an idea is properly nurtured and safeguarded, it can become an important intellectual property asset that can drive business development, economic recovery, and human progress. Furthermore, in today's competitive world, all businesses, big or small, have to rely on the effective use of one or more types of intellectual property to gain and maintain a competitive edge.
The opposition United Party for National Development, UPND, in Western Province has welcomed the adoption of its current Member of Parliament for Nalikwanda constituency, Geoffrey Lungwangwa, to stand on the ruling PF ticket. UPND Western Province Chairman Kapelwa Mbangweta has told Camnet TV News that the adoption of Professor Lungwangwa will not change the narrative because the PF has allegedly failed to take development in the province. Mr. Mbangweta feels it does not matter who the PF adopts to contest for Nalikwanda, stating that the party will still lose owing to their poor performance in terms of development. Mr. Mbangweta, who is also Nkeyema Member of Parliament, says the PF lied to the people of Western Province that it was going to construct a university and modern stadium in the province, but none has been delivered so far.
We could not have had any higher position than that of Vice President, if you like. And so the fact that even with that position, we could not compete favorably in terms of the allocation of resources tells you a story in the context of the way the PF is organized. The day before yesterday, there was a question in Parliament which was posed by Honorable Nanjua of Mumbwa. It was a question for oral answer. He wanted to find out in the last, I think, 4 years, the expenditure pattern through the Ministry of Works and Supply in terms of repairs in the various provinces. Western Province, during all those years, was at the bottom pile. And then you wonder and say, okay, the people of Western Province, when it comes to paying taxes, we should work for them. They pay just like any other citizen. But who is stopping the PF from bringing service to Western Province? Only themselves who know. And so it doesn't really matter whatever they put forward. The end result will still be the same. And so their deeds will speak for them, and their deeds is zero, so to speak.
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
For a fun and adventurous weekend on GoTV, it's double the giggles and double the trouble, as these guys save America from every threat. Yet again, Zupa finds herself in hot waters. Drama, drama, drama. And for a bit of a breather, rub shoulders with the rich and famous at the Oscars. GoTV, love it.
2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses with only a few months remaining down to the ballot. The battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor, or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict.
For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979 753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Welcome back. And in international news, Chad's new military transitional government says it will not negotiate with the rebels blamed for killing the country's president Idris Deby. In a televised statement, the military spokesman, General Azem Bemonda Agoma, said the rebels were seeking to collaborate with several groups of jihadists and traffickers who served as mercenaries in Libya. The rebel group, known by their French acronym FACT, said on Sunday it was joining other armed groups who oppose Deby's son, Mohamed Idris Deby, taking control of the country for 18 months ahead of new elections. The former colonial power, France, has been careful not to criticize the military's actions, and French President Emmanuel Macron attended Deby's funeral last week. Chad is home to a French military base where counter-terrorism operations for the region are headquartered. Chad also has supplied critical troops to the UN peacekeeping mission in northern Mali.
Chad's new military transitional government says it will not negotiate with the rebels blamed for killing the country's president, Idris Deby. In a Sunday announcement, it raised the possibility that the armed fighters may push on with their threats to attack the capital, and said it's not the time for negotiations. The rebel group, known by their French acronym FACT, said on Sunday it was joining other armed groups who opposed Debi's son, Mohamed Idris Deby, taking control of the country for an 18-month period. A spokesman said the rebels had not given up. The Chadian rebels were based in southern Libya and are believed to have crossed back into Chad on election day. The vote handed Deby a landslide victory, extending his 30 years in power. But the next day, he was killed while visiting the front lines. Opposition groups have called his son's appointment a coup d'etat and have called for a demonstration this week.
The commander of foreign military forces in Afghanistan, U.S. Army General Scott Miller, says local action has begun as part of the final withdrawal of U.S. and NATO troops. Miller said foreign military bases would be gradually handed over to Afghan forces. U.S. President Joe Biden wants all combat soldiers out by September 11, the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks in New York City and Washington, D.C.
Being here today.
Speaking to Afghan journalists at the NATO base in Kabul, US General Scott Miller described the beginning of the end for foreign troops in Afghanistan.
All of our forces are now preparing to retrograde. Officially, the notification date will be the 1st of May. But at the same time, as we start taking local actions, we've already begun that.
Proof of the departure can be found at this Kandahari scrap heap. The owner, now the proud recipient of unwanted or broken equipment from Kandahar Airfield, a key American base over the last 20 years.
You can find containers, refrigerators, chairs, tables, and anything you would need, generators, and even some stuff in working condition. You can find anything from around the world.
The Trump administration and the Taliban had agreed that foreign forces would be gone by May 1st if the Taliban negotiated with Afghan leaders and cut ties with al-Qaeda. This month, US President Joe Biden announced a new plan. The US will leave by September 11, but with no conditions. This despite a recent UN report that up to 500 al-Qaeda fighters remain in Afghanistan as close allies of the Taliban. General Miller, with his leverage gone, issued this warning.
As far as the relationship between al-Qaeda and the Taliban have to break that relationship. That is something they have committed to, and the world expects them to break that relationship, and certainly that Afghanistan will never be used as a safe haven for terrorism.
Yet it's hard to break a relationship you don't have. The Taliban has long denied there are any al-Qaeda members in Afghanistan. They are quick, however, to confirm their attacks. On Sunday alone, they published 16 posts on their website boasting of killing dozens of Afghan soldiers and police officers in recent days. Few could be verified. Miller is America's longest-serving commander in Afghanistan. He has tried to reassure Afghan security forces, saying he'll leave them with as much equipment as possible.
It's my objective to ensure that the Afghan security forces are in the best possible security posture, and that means transitioning bases and equipment to the Afghan security forces.
More than 10,000 US and coalition troops need to leave Afghanistan within 5 months. As numbers dwindle, the Pentagon has sent 2 B-52 bombers to Qatar and will keep an aircraft carrier in the region as cover in case of Taliban aggression. Charlotte Bellis, Al Jazeera.
It's now time for sports news. In sports news, NKANA have arrived safely in Casablanca, Morocco, ahead of the last CAF Confederations Cup Group D fixture against Raja Casablanca on Wednesday, April 28. The team touched down at Casablanca Mohammed V International Airport at 14:20 hours Zambian time. NKANA, who have already bowed out of the tournament, will only be playing to fulfill a fixture. But head coach Beston Chambeshi says he is treating the game with caution and seriousness as he wants to steer the team out of the relegation zone in the local league. The NKANA coach is hopeful that a win in Morocco will play as a catalyst to the team's good performance in the FAZ Super League. The match between NKANA FC and Raja Casablanca is slated for Wednesday, April 28, 2021 at the Stade Mohammed V Stadium at 23 hours Zambian time. On that sports note, we come to the end of our news, but we take a look at the headlines once again. Former State House aide AMOS CHANDA runs to police over his implication in the HATEMBO saga. PF CADRE links LUSAKA Province Minister BOWMAN LUSAMBO in the harassment of a civil servant. CISCA troubled with the use of huge sums of money by PF and government officials to woo voters. In international news, Chad's transitional government refuses to negotiate with rebels. And in sports news, NKANA jet into Morocco. The Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Matthew 20, verse 26 to 28, and it reads, "It must not be like that among you. On the contrary, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first among you must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many." That's all we had in our news. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.